Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Authentically Me, Who the Hell Am I Anyway interview series. Today I have Adele. How do I pronounce your last name?
Brimage.
Brimage. I like that. Brimage. Adele is a transformational life and business coach and inspirational speaker whose mission is to impact and help as many dynamic, passionate, ambitious women and visionary leading men as she can to remove any barriers that are holding them back, learn them or teach them how to love themselves, become more confident, have unshakable self-belief, ignite their life, and move into a higher level in their life. Hello, Adele. How are you?
I'm good, yeah. How are you?
Doing well. I just want to give the audience a little backdrop of how you and I came together. It took us literally weeks to finally connect. And then when we did, it was like, I have to have you on this because your message is so powerful and so strong. And, you know, like attracts like. So Adele's story and my story have a lot of similarities. So Adele, tell us, what does authentically me mean to you?
I think authentically me means that I am in charge of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it means that because I've spent most of my adult life with somebody else pulling the strings.
Yeah.
And being authentic means that the only person you answer to is you.
Yes.
It means that you take care of yourself, that you love yourself,
Mm-hmm.
that instead of doing what most women do, in what I did for most of my life, putting everybody else first and me last, it means that I'm top of my list.
Yes. And
it means that my message comes from my heart.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And that's what we talked about when we got on the phone, finally, Skype.
Yes, finally.
We dove into that and how important is that, because, you know, I'm in my 40s and the same as you, I was putting everybody first and putting me on the back burner and didn't realize the importance of what it means to put yourself first. So since you also teach self-love, can you dive into that, Adele, of how important it is to really put yourself first and the difference? Because a lot of women, and I'm sure you were there at some point, because I know I was, we believe that it's selfish to put ourselves first.
Yeah, totally, because I think as women, that's the message that society gives you.
Yeah.
And I'm very fortunate in my life now because it took me a long time to get this message. Mm-hmm. And even though the message is simple, it really pushed them triggers internally for me, as I think it will do for a lot of women, because we put everybody else first instead of ourselves. And for a long time, I thought I loved myself, but we talked about this on that Skype call about how what I thought was self-love at the beginning was actually self-care.
Right.
And I think that's what a lot of women do. They get it wrong. They think they're looking after their hair, or they're buying nice clothes, or they're looking after their skin, or taking care of themselves. But actually, that's not loving yourself. Loving yourself means that you're unapologetic about what you believe and who you are.
Mm.
I believe it's a very powerful place to be.
Yes, definitely.
Sorry, carry on.
And I was going to say, and choosing for you. So because you and I have similar stories, if I would have known back then what I know now, I would have chosen a lot of things differently.
Definitely, yeah.
And even if I had chosen the same person to marry, throughout that marriage, there would have been a lot of different choices. because throughout that whole marriage, it was give, 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 give. I was giving everything, all of me. And like, you know, we said earlier, putting myself on the back burner. And you did the same thing.
Yeah, I think I did. And I think when you talk about making them different choices, I think lots of women make choices in life, but actually they're no choices because they come from the wrong place. Because what we do is we think about what we want to do. We think about everybody else in that's going to be affected by that. And the choices we make, I think, are because of that. And I think what I do now is I think, how does this feel with me?
Right.
My guiding rule now is if my head and my heart are in alignment, then I'm doing the right thing. When they're out of kilter, it makes me go in deeper and question it.
So let's go into that a little bit, Adele. How does somebody know that their heart and their head is in alignment? Because these are two completely different things.
Oh, yeah. Completely different things. And I think one of the things I've learned and one of the things I help women to get is about intuition. We all have intuition. It's that guiding system that we all have. It's built in. But the problem is, it's a really tiny little voice. And as women in society today, it's the greater voice, the bigger voice that we hear, the one that says, you have to do this, you can't do that, you can't be this, you're too fat, you're too dumb, nobody's going to listen, nobody's going to love you, you're never going to get the right job. It's that voice we hear. We don't hear the little voice that says, actually, this is the right move for you. Actually, you can do this. You know, and it's really little. And as soon as you start tapping into that and start listening to it on a regular basis, it becomes bigger.
Yeah.
And it guides you into doing the right things in your life, because I think that's what it's there for. It's there to guide you always for your best interest.
And there's so many names for that little voice. That's
oh yes, lots.
Yeah, your gut feeling, the inner voice. There's so many, whatever you want to call it or name it, that's the voice to listen to. And you gave me chills, Adele, when you were saying that, because that is so important. And thank God that we have this outlet, this interview series, and you being all the way in the UK and me being here in the United States, we still can connect and we still can spread the message of how important it is to be who you really are and to listen to that voice, that inner voice.
Yeah, it's really, really important. Yeah, because think about it. The voice that we listen to most of the time, women, unless they're really aware of what's going on, you wouldn't say the things that you say in your own head to another person. You wouldn't criticize them like you criticize yourself. You would never, you know. And I say to women, think about a really good friend you've got. What would you do? What would you give to help that friend move forward?
Key.
Then why is it that you keep self-sabotaging yourself?
Right.
And I think women do that, and we tell ourselves we're not. And what we do is we procrastinate. I was a great procrastinator. I always had a reason why something didn't have to be done, or why it had to be done a particular way. And the way that it usually got done fell in line with somebody else's wishes, not mine.
Right. Yeah.
So I think listening to that voice really guides you. It helps you to move forward in a powerful way.
That is so key, what you said, Adele, because and here's something else that I want the audience to really get. That little voice is coming from here, and the big voice is here. We're always trying to figure things out. And the key that I hear you saying is get out of your head. Get out of
Definitely.
and be more in line with this.
Yeah, because it's actually not your head that's running the show. It's your subconscious mind. That's
Right.
where all your program is. That's where the programming from when the day you were born is. And you adopt things as you go through your life. You
Mm-hmm.
adopt programming from when you were a child that you don't even know you hold. But
Mm-hmm.
it carries on through your adult life, and it helps you make the decisions that create your life. And because of the beliefs that you think that are in there, you do certain actions or you don't do certain actions, and all of them create the life that you have. So actually understanding the programming and how to change the programming is much, much easier then to love yourself, because we all hold these limiting beliefs about what we think our life is should have, what we think we're capable of, what we don't think we can achieve, what we think we can achieve. It goes back to how much money we think we can have. We put
Absolutely.
that ceiling in there about what we think we can have, what kind of job we think we can do. And once you get rid of all them limitations and you're in charge, it's amazing the difference that life can be.
And so, what would be a great first step, Adele, for somebody to, like you just said, because all of those things that you just mentioned are messages that we received growing up. That came
Yeah,
from
oh,
our
definitely.
environment. That came from our environment. Mom and dad, family members, TV, school,
Yeah.
environment, meaning the whole gamut. So, what would be a great first step that you could give our audience to um, break through those limiting beliefs?
I think one of the things is if you find that there's something in your life that's not working currently for you, then you need to look at actually what the thinking is around that. So let me give you a for instance. If you thought that you were never going to find the perfect partner, if
Mm.
you kept having relationships and the relationships kept breaking down, and you had a belief system, I'm never going to find the right guy. It's just me. I always go for number one. I always go for the wrong one. Lots of women think that. That's quite a popular belief system. Look at that belief system. Where did that belief system come from? Why is it that you believe what you believe?
Mm.
So actually getting to the seed, really, the belief. And why do you believe that? And then once you start thinking about, well, actually, why do I believe that? When did I start believing that? Well, I started believing that when I had a really bad relationship and he called me all these names or he said such really bad stuff to me. I started to believe that, but actually, is that the truth? And then you can start unpacking really and looking at what what thought do I hold around that belief? Well, the thought that you hold around that belief that you're never going to get the perfect guy is I'm not good enough, or I'm too fat, or nobody will want me. So why is it I believe them?
Right.
But you see, the problem is when people look at stuff like this, they look at the external world, but actually all the answers for this are internal, because
Mm-hmm.
that's where the program lies. So if you a quick fix would be to do something external, and for a short time things will get better, but it will always come back. You'll always pick the wrong guy if you don't do the internal stuff, because you'll always go with the wrong belief system. And that's where self-love really works, because once you've unpacked all of that and you start to love yourself, you really, really are precious with who you are. And I'm not saying that in a big-headed way. I'm saying that in a really loving way, because just like you wouldn't let anybody hurt a really good friend of yours or somebody you really loved, you won't let anybody hurt you.
Right.
And you'll start thinking about it all differently.
Right.
And I think when you come from a place of love, everything looks different.
One important thing that I hear you saying, Adele, is that your our outer world will always reflect our inner world. And
Definitely.
That's why it starts here, right here, in order for us to create out. And that's so
definitely
important.
because
Go ahead.
yeah, I totally agree because quantum physics tells us that everything is energy.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's not me saying it as a life coach and a business coach. That's scientists have said that everything, the chair we're sitting on, the table, everything vibrates energy. We vibrate energy, our brains vibrate energy, and all that energy goes out into the universe and is matched by an energy that's of a similar nature. So if you're thinking, God, I haven't got enough money to pay the bills this week, even though you really want more money to come in, what you're going to attract is more problems into your life, because actually that's the energy you're giving out. And it doesn't actually go on the words you say, it goes on the emotions you feel. Because you could be saying, I'm going to manage okay this week, but internally, if you've got that little nudge that's saying, well, I may believe it, I may not believe it, that's the vibration that's going to go out, and that's what's going to be matched.
That's what I was just going to say. When you mentioned the emotions that you feel, that's where the vibration is.
That's where the vibration is, yeah.
You can say till the dogs come home, I have plenty of money for the bills, or, whatever it is, I'm going to attract the right guy. But if you don't believe it here in your heart, this is where the vibration is going to bring in or out things of your inner world.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why it's really important that you get to the bottom of the beliefs that you hold, because a lot of them beliefs are limiting beliefs. I like to call them weeds. They're like weeds in the garden of your mind. They strangle all the good stuff if you believe them.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit like fear. Fear is a thought.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an actual thing. It's a thought. And look how many lives it holds captive.
By a thought.
So many people.
Yeah.
I mean, I can remember when I was in the relationship that I was in for a long time, and the thing that kept me stuck was the fear.
Me too. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was completely the fear, and I couldn't see beyond the fear. Because it was almost like I was going to die. The fear was so strong. It was like I was going to die, but I never died. I started to live. And so getting past all of them beliefs that don't do us any good, that are wrong beliefs, can only help us.
Mm-hmm. Fear is a lie. Fear is a story that we create in our head. Just when you said that, Adele, it reminded me of when I was in my relationship and the fear that I had that I couldn't make it on my own, because I had created this story in my head, which was, I won't be able to make it on my own. If I leave, I will be living, for me, it was a lot of financial. I'll be living in a shitty apartment in a crappy neighborhood, and I won't have enough for this, and I won't have enough for that. And that was a story that I created in my head. And none of it was true.
No, none of it. But look how it impacted your life for all them years.
Exactly. It kept me stuck.
Yeah, I mean, I heard a really great story many, many years ago that really brings this home. And it was a grandfather, and he was talking to his grandson. And his grandson said, tell me the story of the wolves. And the grandfather sat him on his knee, and he said, once upon a time, there was 2 wolves. They were big, fierce wolves. And one of the wolves was called, I can do anything. And the other wolf was called, I live in fear. And they went into battle. And they had a great battle. And he stopped. And the grandson said, Grandad, which one won? And he said, whichever one you feed.
Ah, I love that.
And that's about, what we think about expands.
Mm-hmm.
So if we think bad stuff's going to happen, that's what we get in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
If you think you will or you think you won't, you're right.
Exactly.
Is as the saying goes.
Exactly.
And I think loving yourself all forms part of that, because I think until you start to love yourself, you don't come from an authentic place.
Right.
And the decisions you make in your life don't come around because you're looking after you. And I'm really passionate about women understanding that actually your life is your life.
Mm-hmm.
For you to make the decisions, nobody else. Please consider other people's opinions, but make sure that at the end of the day, the decision you make fits with you.
Mm-hmm.
It should be right for you, not for other people. It should be right for you. And I think coming back to the start, that's what authenticity is to me.
Yeah. And I'd also like to add to that for the audience is that what Adele and I are talking about is you have a choice. Everything in your life is a choice. I chose to stay in my relationship for whatever reasons, you know, like we said, fear is a liar, and fear was a story that I made up in my head, but I chose that. And Adele,
I chose it too.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and you chose it too.
Yeah, chose it too.
And Adele and I chose to continue to get in touch with each other because there was a level of us knowing that we needed to connect. And look where we are now. Now you're sitting on the panel of experts and your message is being revealed and spread. And, you know, I know this won't be the last time that we play together, but it boiled down to a choice. It was a choice for you, for me.
Yeah, and I think one of the things is that going back to the external world, when I was in the relationship that I was in for a long time, I was in my relationship from when I was 18 till when I was 40. So a long time in a very abusive relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And when I left, it would have been really easy to blame the other person. But actually, I had to hold my hands up and say, hang on a minute, I had choices.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that when you're in the middle of that, and you don't just have to be in the middle of a relationship like that to think these thoughts. Sometimes you think you have no choices. As women, I think we have no choices, but we always have a choice. Not choosing is a choice.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so I think that's one of the things I'm really keen that women get the message of, that you know, really think about the decisions you make and make sure you make them from the right place.
If it feels light, it is right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So awesome. We are getting close to our time together, Adele, and I want the audience to get everything they can from you. So tell us a little bit about the gift, the awesome gift that you're going to be sharing with the audience.
Well, one of the things that I've done is it took me a long time to learn to love myself. I thought I had it so many times, and so many times I was wrong. But then when I got it, I realized how life was changing around me, how I was making different decisions, how it affected my mind, my mindset, my perception of life. And I wanted to help other women to do that. So I wrote an ebook all around loving yourself and some of the things you can do to help you get on the right path to start to love yourself. And so that's my gift to you today.
Awesome.
And it's filled with strategies that you can look at around what it is, what it isn't, and how you start to move in that direction if that's what you choose to do.
I hope the audience chooses, because that is, I always say self-love is the foundation to having anything and everything in your life. It always starts right here. Yeah. And I also always say, I should probably make it my own quote, if you don't love and adore yourself, how can you expect somebody else to love and adore you?
But you see, and that's actually a really good quote, because did you know that how you treat yourself is actually showing other people how you want to be treated?
Absolutely.
Because
Yes.
if you think, if you think to yourself, oh, it doesn't, if you say to other people, it doesn't matter, it's okay, it's me, you're actually training them to not treat you the way you actually want to be treated. And lots of times women say that, but that's not actually what's going on internally.
Yes.
What's going on internally is, I really wish I could have some help. I really wish I could have a hug. I really wish that somebody would say I'm struggling here. But we don't say that. We say, no, it's okay. But it's not okay. We should say what we mean, really.
Yes. That's what this event is about, Adele, is to get to that place where you can say yes or no with equal grace and ease. It's okay to say no. It's okay to say yes. Whatever it is, it's okay. It's okay. To truly come from your heart and be comfortable with yourself when you say yes or no for whatever the situation is. And when you were just talking about that, Adele, something came to my mind. That's why I was smiling so big, which was the first time that I actually chose to teach a certain person of how I was going to be treated. And that's when I left my 22-year marriage. I finally stood up for myself. And I finally said, enough is enough. I'm choosing me this time. And it's been a wild ride ever since. Because I continued to choose me and think of, this is even before I got into the coaching world. So that was my first step. And then another one was when I had an opportunity to fly out to Colorado, which was a state I had never been in, and drive from Colorado almost across the United States, all the way down to South Florida. And, this was me freshly being single. And I thought, my first thought was what my old pattern was, oh, I can't afford that. And, blah, 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 blah. And then my second thought was, I'm doing it. Like I let go of where I was going to continue to get the money from. And I chose me. And it's one of the best experiences that I've had, because I did get to see states that I had never been in. So my point is, driving this home, is that once you treat yourself, like you were saying, internally, you do send a message out to other people of how to treat you. And it, again, boils down to a choice. And choosing you is your first choice.
Definitely. Yeah, I totally agree. And I think once you start making them choices, people see that, and people respond differently to you. But I also think it was really good what you said when you said about, I could have thought, I can't afford this, but actually thought, no, I'm doing this. And actually, when you make them decisions, the universe goes, okay, I'm playing, let's go.
Yep.
But I think the problem is that many people, you get stuck in that thinking of, I can't have. Yep. And I remember years ago listening to somebody, and they said, you need to be, let me get this the right way around, you need to be, do, have, instead of have, do, be. So you need to be what you want before you have it.
Yes.
And then you'll get it.
Right.
But many people in the world say, when I've got it, I'll be it.
Right.
So it's the wrong way round.
Yes.
Because that's how the universe works. And it only works one way. It doesn't work better for you than it does for me. Right. Or for somebody else. It works one way.
Yes.
Because it's a law.
I was just going to say that.
Like gravity, it can only do one thing.
Right. Every single time. And I was just going to say that, Adele. There's laws. It's the law. There's no two ways about it. It just is what it is. And once we all get that, then that's when the world will change. That's when our thought process, our belief systems will change. And maybe that will even integrate into, I've always said for young kids that go to school, we're totally teaching them, just the basics of, math and science and stuff, instead of teaching them how to think the
Yes.
correct way, the correct
Yeah. I mean, I remember reading, I got an email this week about a school. I think it was in China. And before they start lessons, they meditate.
I love that.
I'm like, wow, how powerful is that?
I love that. Yeah.
How powerful is that? Because it's not daydreaming, it creates your life.
Yes. We are so running out of time, Adele, and I could talk to you forever.
It's okay. I could talk to you too.
So, all right, you told us about your free gift. Tell the listeners how they can get in touch with you. Website, social media, whatever.
Yeah, so my website is www.adelebrimage.com, and my Facebook is www.facebook.com/AAUPPGS.
Awesome. And any final last words for the listeners?
I think my final words will be, you only get one go at this. So make it the best. Invest in your life. And it starts with what you think about.
Yes. I got chills again. Thank you so much, Adele, for continuing to want to connect with me, because it was so worth it. I absolutely adore you, and I know this is not going to be the last time that we play together. Just thank you for your message. Thank you for being here and accepting my offer to be on the panel. And thank you for you and choosing you.
No, thank you, Denise, because I'm so passionate about this. The fact that I can talk to your listeners, actually, I feel really privileged, and I'm really humbled to be able to do this. I'm blessed every day that I was given the skills I was given as you were given them, to be able to do this and to get this. And any time I can do stuff like this, I'm more than welcome to do it.
Awesome. Well, everybody, thank you for listening and continuing to choose you, because just by you being here, you're choosing you. And I hope that you stay on the path of that. And until next time, everybody, we will see you then. Thank you for joining us with Authentically Me. Who the hell am I anyway? Bye.
Bye.